Hi folks, I'm Anne.
And I'm Jonathan.
And together we are two halves of Holistic Wellbeing Yorkshire. In our spare time we love to travel around in our old VW camper van Lucy and explore the mysteries of our ancient lands.
We do lots of other random stuff too, so why don't you come along and join us on our adventures, but why not also give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and that little bell icon, why don't you give that a little press too, and that'll keep you up to date with all our other adventures.
Certainly will.
So where are we going?
I don't know, where would you like to go?
Anywhere.
Anywhere? Right, let's fire
up the bus.
Okay.
Hiya, so here we are. We found ourselves at Arbor Low in Derbyshire. This is one of the most famous sites in the Peak District, if not the UK. A lot of people come here, it's quite busy, it can be quite busy. We've picked a good day, it's either windy or raining usually, or both, and we're just going to scan around though, because we'll hopefully give you an idea of how you actually approach this. As you can see now, we're kind of stood in a field. Just behind us is the ancient site itself, just on the horizon there. So as we scan around a little bit, you'll begin to see, excuse me screwing my eyes up because I've just had to look into the sun. Just behind us there, a lovely pastoral scene, a farm, cows in the field, and access is via the farm, by the way. We will show you, possibly, if we remember that, is how to get access to it, but it is down a little lane there, and I'm not sure, because I'm screwing my eyes up, you might see cars in the makeshift car park as well. So so here we are. We're now going to approach the site.
I just want to mention that there is an honesty box as well for parking.
There is?
Because it is on private land.
It is on private land, and it's £1 per person, which I think's an absolute bargain, really. So here we are, and we're just about to go into the entry gate. So here we've got a little bit of information. If Anna would like to read out some of that info.
Okay, see whether you can hear me, because obviously I'm going to be turning away from the camera. Arbor Low, a circle for ceremonies. About 4,500 years ago, people laboured together on this hillside to build an extraordinary stone circle surrounded by a huge ditch and bath. They created a special location, a world apart, a place for their gatherings and ceremonies. The Neolithic builders dug out the ditch using picks made from deer antlers. I'd like to see that actually. Piling up the rubble and soil to form a large circular bath. Today we call this a henge, a stone circle of 40 upright slabs of limestone was built in the centre. These have since fallen. The site continued to be important for ceremonial life. The henge may have been several centuries old when a mound or barrow was fashioned from its back. Inside was a stone chamber containing a cremation, accompanied by 2 pots and a bronze pin. Evidence for other burials have been found in the centre of the stone circle. So,
is that it?
That's it, a little bit more. At the centre of the stone circle was a square arrangement of 4 stones known as a cove, perhaps forming a focal point for ceremonies. Excavations across the ditch found evidence of fire, as well as animal bones and flint tools.
So enough of that. Let's get along and see the site and see what we can make of it and put our kind of slant on that, shall we? So here we are right in the middle of the henge itself, and the energy here is extremely intense. Both Anne and I have felt the energy, and right here you feel, or it feels as though somebody is literally taking you by the wrist and pulling you down towards the ground. It's a very grounding, very powerful grounding energy. Now the stones, as we'll try and highlight at some point in the video, the stones themselves, which I am taking them to be a limestone. I'm not sure about that, I'll need to check my geological facts again. But it looks like a limestone to me, so I'm going to go with that for the time being. It is indigenous to the area anyway, it's limestone, because we are classed as what we're in the Derbyshire Dales. And at this point here, as we go that way, we're going in a northwesterly direction, and as we're going kind of round that way, you can see what you could class as the entrance or the exit between the two stones there. Okay, is going in the opposite to northwesterly, which will be southeasterly, hopefully, if I get my compass points right. So we've got these radial stones laying flat, by the way, and that's been a big thing about the henge below. Is the question is, or was, or always has been, were these stones vertical at one time? That's a really good question. Have they purposely been laid flat? We'll try and tune in on that one and see if we can pick up anything from the ether, let's call it. Yeah. If Uther comes in from the ether, Uther in the ether, yay, great. But I just want to say that when you look at this from an aerial shot, you really begin to appreciate a lot more about the henge, and it's very much like Thornborough Henge. Until you see Thornborough Henge from up above, you don't appreciate exactly what it is, because for all intents and purposes, apart from the stones here at Arbor Low, you just think they were kind of, somebody dug a book heap, yeah, in a circular fashion. But if you look at it, it actually forms what we call a torus. That's not Taurus the bull, it's Taurus, T-O-R-U-S. It's a toroidal field of energy. And both myself and Anne have walked around the henge itself on the perimeter. We could only get so far because some of it's fenced off for the cattle. So we can't get all the way around at some point. But we both felt very much that if you walk in an anti-clockwise direction around the henge, and we're going from the northwest point of that, the northwest entrance or exit, that it's quite a weak energy. But then you change your polarity and you go clockwise, and the energy begins to become a lot more intense. And so we walked on the henge itself, and exactly the same thing. So there seems to be a very stronger force of energy walking in a clockwise direction rather than anti-clockwise. So when we actually get into the pit of the henge, so the actual ditch itself, that's when it all changes and it becomes a toroidal field of energy. So we're walking clockwise, okay, on the pit in the ditch, and then we come in through the northwest entrance, and it's a much stronger energy. Likewise for the other side. So in other words, imagine two halves of an apple when we're talking about toroidal fields, and when you cut an apple in half, you'll see that it forms this kind of dual shape of the apple itself, and that is the shape of a torus or a donut. If you look at a donut, it's where energy perpetuates around the field, and we all have that. We all have that in the auric field. Magnets, electric motors, etc. all have this toroidal field of energy, and definitely it's here at Arbor Low. So if you come and stand in the middle here, try these exercises if you're interested in doing this stuff, of course. Try the exercises for yourself and see how you feel. You might come up with some different results, and if you do, tell us about it, drop it in the comments or whatever. But we have spotted this other site that we're going to visit very shortly, but we're just going to spend a little bit more time here and see if we can tune into the mystery of where the stones stood, or where the stones designed to lay flat. So here I am just sitting on the central stones of the the Arbor Low of the henge itself, and I'm getting some very funny vibrations. That's because my phone's ringing in my pocket, but less about that the better. Sorry whoever it is, I don't mean to ignore you, but I'm getting information through from Uther, which is interesting. I've only got a little snippet at the moment, but I'll try and bring more through as he brings through things from it. He says we're actually sitting in the power point of the henge itself. This is the real power point, and I think we found that through the energy. And he says that everything about this place is cosmic, and that's as far as I got. So I'm going to try and see if he'll talk a little bit more about it. He's telling me, and I don't know whether we could ever find this out, but anybody who's got the equipment for it, but every single stone here is aligned to a star or star system. Everything is a concentration of cosmic energy. He's telling me that the stones were meant to be laid flat, that they weren't standing. He's telling me that the flat stones tend to be more for the cosmic energy, the upright stones tend to be more for the earth energy. But he's just contradicted himself and says that that's not always the case. I love that as power spirit. Tell you one thing and then they say another. But where we are, he says he's very much still connected. And there is a lot of cosmic alignment in this place. And I feel as though we can't possibly do it justice today. It would take a long time and a good few people that are interested in this energy work and these ancient sites to come along and see what we all pick up. And we've said this before on previous videos, that if we can all kind of pull together, share our information and really see what we come up with, because these stones have been put here for us to decipher. It's like a big code, and every single placement, every single stone, and some have perhaps gone by the wayside, we'll never see them again, they might have been stolen, moved or buried or whatever it might be, but everything that was put here for a reason, and everything had a purpose. And with the north west alignment, being told about the North Star, I think we've talked about North Star alignments before in previous videos. It seems to be a thing. And Sirius again. Sirius keeps coming up every time with these circles. Sirius is extremely relevant to the Giza pyramids. So these stars have got some major significance in cosmic connection with Earth and these cosmic locations. He says there's a story in every one of these places which will link us to our ancient ancestors, and not just the Druids but our off-planet ancestors as well, the ones who brought us here, the ones who came and began to energize the earth and to populate the earth, because for population there had to be an energizing process. And I've talked about many times to people about the whales and the dolphins, the orcas. The whales were the first beings to populate the ocean, and they prepared the oceans for the rest of marine life. And they were obviously ancestors of humanity that came here to Earth to do exactly the same on land. So if you're interested, folks, come along, check it out for yourselves, and let's see what we get. Hi, we've just done the approach to Gib Hill, which is a barrow, and it's the first time we've been, and it's literally only a stone's throw from the henge itself. I'm just going to read you a little bit from the official board here before we make our way over to the barrow.
So it says Gib Hill, 2 barrows in 1.
Yay!
Gib Hill is actually 2 prehistoric mounds known as barrows, built one on top of the other about 1,000 years apart. Both monuments were important places of ceremony and acted as markers that connected the community intimately to the landscape. So there you go. It's a chap here, Thomas Bateman, and his team of excavators
kind of dug into the barrow, caused it to collapse. Whoa! Where have we heard this kind of story before? Time and again, these rich Victorian people destroying these amazing sites, having absolutely no clue as to what they were there for, or perhaps they did, because there's a little clue to perhaps what was his name? Bateman, what Thomas Bateman was part of. And if I just say there's a set of dividers resting on his map of Arbor Low, I'm just going to leave it at that, basically. So we're getting really excited now. We're going to go and check out the barrow.
There's a little interesting snippet on here which says Gib Hill may indicate the use of this nearby mound for a gibbet or hanging place in the medieval period. The name Arbor Low comes from, now you're really going to have to forgive me for this, any sort of native speakers, Northberg Claw, meaning earthwork hill or mound. So there you go. I might have butchered the ancient language, but I have had a go at least.
So just standing at the base of Gib Hill or Gib Hill, not quite sure of the pronunciation, it must be one or the other. We've noticed at Arbor Low a number of odd structures. If Anne can just show you what we're talking about here. These structures are obviously modern times. VR is imprinted or chiselled into every single one of them. Allegedly it's to do with preservation, that the Victorians wanted to preserve these sites. There is an alternative theory about what these structures might actually be doing, and that is diverting the energies or blocking the energies in these places. This also is occurring at Arbor Low as well, and we've seen a great video, and just for the life of me can't remember the name of the two people that did it, but we will put a link in somewhere which will help you to go and check that video out. It's fascinating, of their site visit to Arbor Low. And interestingly, there are 5 around the perimeter of Gib Hill, which forms a nice pentagram, or a pentagon, let's say. Yeah, perhaps I might be pushing it with pentagram, but interesting little features, and we'll see if we can find out any more of their reasons for them being here energetically. We're going to go up to the top and we'll do a little bit of a talk at the top of this structure and see if we can find anything out when we go there. So now we're standing right at the top of Gib Hill. It's not that far up, by the way. We're not talking a very high hill at all, by any means. But just to the back there, we've got the henge of Arbor Low, and you can literally draw a line, a straight line from here right to the centre of Arbor Low henge. And one thing I was given, a little bit of information, good old Luther coming through again, saying that this is actually the most sacred site between the two. And Arbor Low basically is the power plant for what we're standing on right now. And as we've talked about in previous videos of these ancient sites, things get labelled burial mounds, burial tombs, burial chambers. These are for rebirth. And there was possibly an entrance in to here at one point, but sadly, thanks to old Thomas, whatever his name was, Tommy Boy, their excavations have obviously changed the energy of the place. And if you just have a look down here, there's a piece of limestone which actually looks as though it's sunk into the ground. I've got a feeling that this is perhaps where that excavation work took place, because the roof of this amazing site collapsed. And I have high hunches again of these places being vandalised on purpose to take away the energy of them. Now, those structures I mentioned already, there are 5 of them which form a pentagon. We're going to go and check out Arbor Low again, and we're going to count them and see how many there are at Arbor Low as well. Somebody took a lot of time to come and kind of install these little pillars, so we'll see you back there. So just to conclude our Arbor Low visit, some very interesting things going on there. And when we went up to Gib Hill or Gib Hill, we noticed those strange stone structures with VR written on them. Well, around Arbor Low henge itself, there are 10 of those structures that I could count. And that's the quarry lorries that you get in Derbyshire. Yeah. I'm not cutting that. I'm going to just carry on. I'm going to carry on. So it's all about the stones in Derbyshire. Hang on, I think there's another one coming the other way. Wait for it. Wait for it. You see, we've got these lovely country lanes in Derbyshire. Wait for it. Here we go. Yay! It's transport heaven. Yeah, the 10 stones around the henge itself. One of them was pulled up, and the one that was pulled up was in alignment with another one at the other side of the henge that went right through the centre circle, the powerful part that we were sitting on, and was in perfect alignment with Gib Hill, the barrow. So interesting stuff. And as you just enter the gate into the henge itself, when you walked up the wall side from the farm, you'll see a little what looks to be like a copper spike, or looks like a big rivet actually, that's been driven into the ground. So that's something else that's very interesting, because we all know what copper does, don't we? Do we? Do you know what copper does?
It's used to divert the energy. So if there's any untoward energy, say you've got a ley line that's coming through that's corrupted, you can actually change the direction of the earth energies by using these copper stakes.
Yeah. Wonderful, because they're conductive, of course. Yeah. So interesting stuff again, folks. Do visit Arbor Low. It's an amazing site, definitely well worth a visit. So take the time out when you're in Derbyshire, look it up. We've mentioned it already. Look up the 9 Ladies too. Yeah. And it's Wallace and Gromit.
Wallace and Gromit.
Sorry.
Motorbike and sidecar.
Sidecar. Wow. Wow. And there goes the Tour de France again. Wow, it's a flipping busy road, is this?
Isn't it?
So we're going to leave you on that note, folks, and we're going to make a little bit more noise and do the touristy thing and set off, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Thanks for watching. Take care.